right, so today on the podcast, we are going to do a little 2024 recap and also go back a little bit into 2023. There's a couple things that just now I can finally talk about that I think are really good lessons, especially the one of them that, took a long time for me to actually be able to talk about. Um, but we're going to go there today. And we're just going to do a little recap of the year, what I've learned, what you can learn from that. And this is officially the last episode of the podcast for this year. So, although there is still another month left of 2024, this will be the last episode for this year of Behind the Scenes of Online Business Without the BS. And coming next year, there will be a rebrand of the podcast. So it's actually officially the last episode of the podcast in this form. It's just going to be a whole rebrand, new everything. And I will talk about that as well. What's coming. And I'm just really excited about it because it's time. It's totally time. And I feel like it's just evolved in such a good way with how my life has evolved, with how business has evolved, just everything. So let's get into the recap. All right. So going back to the garbage year of 2023, I feel like that was a year that was just really terrible for a lot of people. I don't know what it was about that year, but honestly, that it was a rough one. It was bad. And for me personally, that was honestly one of the worst years of my life. There are things that I can talk about now that um not many people know about. And it's just not something that obviously we don't go online and just share everything, but I think that it gives a bit of perspective as to, you know, what people deal with behind the scenes while also running a business and being the face of a business and showing up online and doing all of the things. But 2023, I don't even, it was fucked. That's, I can't, there's no other way to explain it. There's literally no other way. And I've been through a lot in my life, and 2023 was epically bad. It's just there's one year I never want to relive again. It would be that. So, starting off with business, there was an event that almost took down my business in 2023. And I'm not going to go into really specific details. I do feel comfortable sharing a bit about it now because enough time has passed since this. And, it's something that I think a lot of people, there's a lot of things that I can share now that people can learn from. So there, it was it was an awful time. It was a really horrible, horrible time. And it literally, I was not sure if I was going to be able to continue running my business after what happened. And it's very unfortunate because it was nothing that I did. To this day, I still don't know exactly what I was accused of. I still have not, and don't want, I don't want clarity on this. Like, I have closed that door. It is fine now. Like I said, there's enough time that has passed that there's no reopening this shit. that's why I'm able to talk about it now. But to this day, I don't know even exactly w- like what people thought happened. I don't know because I was never told the full truth of anything. And a lot of things were said about me to other people. And it was just, it had a lot of repercussions that I don't think, I'm not sure if some of the people involved even realize. And that's fine. I mean, it is what it is, but I really don't think that they even, I don't know if they know what actually happened from that. And it was bad and it still has some repercussions today, even though I have, a totally different outlook on things and a totally different mindset on things. And there are people that I will meet online or that still have certain misconceptions or preconceived notions of me. And you know what? You can think whatever the fuck you want because I am going to show you that I'm not that person that some people have, you know, spread some things that are untrue about. So I think in this case, it's just knowing that, things like this can happen and it's really what you do in that moment determines whether your business is going to survive that. You don't have to let these things take you out. It doesn't fucking matter what anyone else says or thinks about you or does whatever online. It really doesn't matter. There are so many people out there, doesn't matter. What I specifically did that really helped was just remove myself from a shit ton of people. And even though really, that was, it was really hard. It was so hard because I lost a lot of friends over it. But I had to do that. And there were some people that didn't want to talk to me because they thought certain things, which fine. I'm like, it gets to the point where I'm not going to explain myself anymore. I know that I didn't do anything. There's no more explaining to be done. So, you know what? There's so many other people online, and there's so many other places that you can go into, and relationships that you can build, and ways that you can build your business. There are so many other things that you can do. And so you don't have to let anybody think that they are going to take that away from you because they can't unless you let them. And I refuse to do that. So we didn't. And it was a fucking hellishly shitty time. It was awful time because at the same time, and I can't even make this shit up, the same day, I was actually served papers for another thing that was not actually happening. And this has all also been resolved. And, you know, it was never, it was never what. So basically, I was served papers saying that I was in contempt of a court order for um, custody of Sebastian, is the very short thing of it. I don't want to go too much into details because I also don't want to put him out there. So I'm not going to go too much into those details. But, anyways, um, that was not happening. That was 100% not happening. This is all resolved. But on the same day that that happened, this other thing was blowing up. So I had these both at the exact same time, literally same day. It was probably one of the worst days of my life, to be quite honest, because the repercussions from the court thing were potentially, and this is like still really hard for me to wrap my head around. And it's hard for me to even say, but this is why I wanted to go back to 2023 and then come to where we are now because it is so messed up. The repercussions potentially were me having to pay thousands of dollars and possibly jail time. I can't even I can't say it with a straight face because it is so, it's so just mind-blowingly awful. So that was all going down at the same time. And that dragged on because court does for a long time, for months. And finally got resolved. Obviously, I was not found in contempt. Never went to jail. Everything's fine over here. And, you know, that that situation is much better. But the business stuff, that also went on for some time. And it created just a really weird thing online. I was very uncomfortable with a lot of things, and 2023 was just fucking awful year. There was a lot of other things that happened personally behind the scenes, a lot of stuff. It was awful. So then we come to 2024, this year. And this year was the year that things finally started to turn around and like major things in my life that I never thought were going to change for a very long time. I thought that we were going to be stuck in certain situations, especially in our personal life. And it has been just all right. All right. So 2024, I just got interrupted. So we're just going to keep going. 2024, things finally turned around. And like, even though all this shit had happened in 2023, I was still like so committed to making this work, having this business, doing this. Like, this is something that I am so fucking passionate about. And especially with so many other things that have happened in my life. And, going back to why I even started nursing and why I've done so many things and just, you know, really going for what I want in my life and what is going to be the best for our family. So I was just like so committed to still doing this. And I just kept going. And it ended up this year was the first full year that I was full time in my business. I did not pick up one nursing shift, not one this year. I was 100% full time only in my business. And I can't even tell you actually how proud I am of myself, to be totally honest. Like it's a big thing. And, it's not something when I first went into nursing that I didn't ever obviously plan to quit nursing or stop nursing, but our lives things change, things evolve. And, you know, it's something that I also I really don't take this lightly. And it's not something that I ever just recommend people do is like, you know, decide you're going into business and just quit your job. Like, fuck to the no. That's the worst idea. I hate when people give this advice or say that, like, you're not all in if you still have a job. Fuck that shit. Okay. Like, I I was still nursing. I had three nursing jobs while I was building both my business. Like, this has been 4.5 years to this point of me having my businesses. Like, first my fitness one, now this one. The total of me owning a business in some shape or form has been 4.5 years. Like, it took this long, and it took making absolutely sure that I knew what the fuck I was doing and that this was going to work in order for me to be able to actually go full time and not have nursing as an option or like not pick up shifts. Because the other thing is, we've talked about this before. I mean, I had Jameson, my husband, on the podcast. I am the breadwinner in our family. I have to make money. I have to support us. And like, I mean, yeah, he has a job, but also, haha, he's on strike right now. So if you've heard about the Canada Post strike, he works for Canada Post. So that's fun. But like, this is the thing. I have to make sure that I know what the fuck I'm doing in my business and that I can bring in enough income to actually support us. And so it is not something that I just like decided, I'm just going to quit my job and like do my business. Like, this was something that we really had to discuss and think about and make sure that it was going to be something feasible. And, it also does, in a way, I guess, tie into systems because the one thing that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about online is the financial part. And although I'm not an accountant, I actually, fun fact, again, I did start taking courses to get my CPA. I can't even like, I swear to God, you probably ask me almost anything, and I've probably at some point in time taken education towards it. So that's chartered professional accountant. So I I have courses in accounting too, but I am extremely on top of our finances, business finances, all of the things to make sure that that is in line so that we do have enough money every month to support us, to pay our bills, to do all of the things. And it's just something that's like not talked about enough. And I have a system in place to make sure that I'm always checking up on this, making sure that it's updated, making sure that, I'm checking the expenses in my business, that I'm not, paying for things that I don't need, or really checking that before I make an investment, that I have the money to do that. Like, this is the shit that's so fucking important for your business. And although it's like the non-sexy, boring stuff, the it's the stuff that matters. It's really what matters. And that has been like a huge part of why I was able to actually, not nurse anymore and go full time is because all these systems as well that I have organizing all of this in the back end. So there's that. And this is not to say that like business is just easy now, because I don't think it's ever easy. And, there's some things that get easier, but it's still not like running a business is not easy. There's so many moving parts. There's so many things that you have to stay on top of and think about and consider, and like all of the things. It's not necessarily easy, but also at the same time, like I fucking love it. I absolutely love it. And I feel like this is what I was meant to do. Like 100%, it was what I was meant to do. I don't know. I don't know. It's like this weird thing, but I do feel that way. And so 2024, it was really good. And things just really turned around business wise, personal, all of the business shit that had happened that kind of fell away. And I mean, I don't really think about it a lot unless I like this. Well, this is the first time that I've really talked about what happened, like publicly, I guess you could say. I don't know. So I don't really think about it a lot, but it did have a big impact then. But it's just, pushing through those things, knowing that shit doesn't define you unless you let it. It really, really doesn't. And what I really like to think about is that I, it's interesting too, and this kind of goes along with it because I do share controversial opinions online. I do share other stuff. And although that really hurt what happened, there are so many other things that have happened in my life and things that have been said that I don't think anything online could ever be as bad. And it's kind of funny because my clients ask me sometimes, aren't you worried that someone will say this or someone will say that? And when it's a stranger online, I don't give a flying fuck. Like, you say whatever you want. Like, I don't care. I don't know who you are. Like, I don't care, because people that I know have said so much worse that you can't hurt me, which is like, it's kind of sad to say, but it's also true. And so I think it's just the lesson in that is really not that I hope that you have not been hurt in that way. I really hope that you haven't, because it's awful. But um also, it doesn't matter what anyone fucking says on the internet. That's like the biggest thing. It really doesn't. It does not. And the most important thing is knowing who you are as a person, and that what other people say about you that's not true doesn't define that. They don't get to define who you are. You do. So it doesn't matter what they say. So 2024 was good. It was good. Things turned around personally a lot also, which is like just unreal. I don't believe I'm not a big like church person. Um, but I can say this is probably the biggest blessing in our lives because we never thought that some things would happen. And I mean, it was to a point where we weren't sure. Well, I didn't know if I was going to survive 2023. So having 2024 turn around like that is just amazing. And now going into 2025 to wrap all of that up as a big recap bow on this. You are on my email list. Maybe you've seen some of my posts, but 2025, we are going into 2025 and it's going to be the successful bitch era. That's what we're calling it. And we are fucking owning that. We are owning our success and being unapologetic about it because it's time. It is so time, not just for me, but women in general. It is so time. People are still so not comfortable with the idea of women being successful. And I think, the last month has kind of showed us that. Um, I have many thoughts that I could share on that, but we're not going to do that right now. But people are very uncomfortable with that. And you know what? It doesn't matter. That also doesn't get to define how successful you become. And it doesn't have to make you uncomfortable or make you not, you know, be more successful or do the things that you want to because someone else is uncomfortable with it. I'm at the point where it's just like, fuck that shit. No more. No. That is like, they can be uncomfortable all they want, but that's a them problem. That's really on them. And I know for myself, for way too long, I, you know, I feel like weird about saying I played small because I feel it's just a weird saying online. And I don't love saying that, but whatever. I guess that's the best way to say it. But I didn't talk about truly my expertise and how much I really know and how fucking good I am at helping people build businesses and really like sustainable businesses that are actually going to support their lives. And it's no more, no more. It's time to just step up and own it. Because I mean, I've been doing this for more than 10 years. Truly, I haven't had my business for that length of time, but actually working with businesses and doing systems and project management and websites and all of the things that I do, it's been over 10 years. It's probably been closer to 12, but I also did some project management type things before that, even when I was a manager at some other jobs. Like it has been a fucking long time. And it's not even that I'm pretending that that didn't happen, but it's time to start owning it. So 2025 is when we step up and own all of this. Own your success and be unapologetic about it. And it doesn't matter who gets uncomfortable about it because you're going to live your successful life. And that's a them problem. You don't have to take that on. So that's a wrap. We're behind the scenes of online business without the BS. That is it. And that's a wrap on 2024. And we're going into 2025, the fucking successful bitch era. So I'm excited for it. I can't wait for you to come along. Send me a message after you listen to this. Let me know what big goals you have for 2025 because I would absolutely love to hear it. And we're going to do big things in 2025. I can feel it so much. It's going to be absolutely amazing.